Hello and welcome, Dota fans. Here we are, another episode of FletchDota. We are at episode 16, so officially over that 3-week mark. Episode 15 being the end of the third week. Not exactly happening on Friday because I did, of course, take July 4th off, so I've kind of offset my episodes just a little bit. So episode 16 is happening instead of on a Monday. On a Tuesday, we are officially starting into the fourth full week of FletchDota. Now, continuing on, I'd like to hit 52 weeks at some point. I think episode 365 will be quite the exciting event. But as of right now, we are on July 15th, 2014. And before I go any further, I need to correct something that I said yesterday. I said we're getting into the main event tomorrow because I completely lost track of the date and time as we were just overloaded by Dota games over the past week. And we actually have a, 4-day break. So from the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and then finally on the 18th, on the fourth day, we will be getting into the main event. But this entire week, we have a break from the International 4 excitement, give everybody time to travel and get there for the main event. So good foresight from Valve, people not having to choose travel over Dota. You can have both. But I did want to go ahead and correct that. So the main event is happening, of course, on the 18th. I've been saying that, but yesterday I was talking about games tomorrow from yesterday, which would have been today. There are no games for the International today. Now, on top of that, I am disappointed. I am disappointed, guys. We did not hit $10.8 million today. We only got $30,000 more in the prize pool. We are at $10.78 million. So we have slipped out. We have stopped throwing our money at the screen saying, take my money, Valve. And we're starting to be stingy. So are we going to hit that 10.8 million mark? Probably by tomorrow. I think I actually heard somebody mention that 10.9 million is the mark where we have 5 million for the first place prize. So I don't know if that's exact or not, but I still want it to hit 11 million. I want to say it was an $11 million tournament because that sounds better than 10.8, 10.9. It's like what the gas stations do. They make something like, they make it 99 cents instead of $1. So they'll be like, say gas is $3.99 instead of $4 because that sounds cheaper than $4. 10.8 sounds cheaper than 11. We don't want that. We want 11 million. That's a bigger tournament, more excitement for Dota 2. So we are at $10.78 million, $10,780,378 in the total prize pool, of course, with a first place prize of $4,958,974 for the winner of the main event that will be happening and concluding this next Monday. Of course, second place will get $1.4 million, as well as third place getting $1 million, fourth, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all getting over $500,000 individually for their teams. So everybody that's still in the main event right now is guaranteed at least $500,000. They're just competing for that almost $5 million first place prize at this point in the game. So lots of excitement coming up, but we do have a few days break to kind of catch our breath and get ready for it. Now, on top of that, those of you who aren't able to travel to TI4, but want to participate, I don't know that I've kind of pointed this out enough. There is, of course, a Dota 2 pub stomp page, and some of you might be saying, well, what's a pub stomp? A pub stomp is just a local viewing event. So it might be in a movie theater. I think there's one in Toronto that's actually in a rented out movie theater. So everyone can watch it up on the theater screen, sit in nice movie theater seats, get some snacks from the concessions, and enjoy some Dota with other people that love Dota. I think they had 300 or 400 seats. They were going to hand out these nice little compendiums. So it looked pretty cool. But they have those in cities around the world. And if you haven't checked yet, and you have the time this weekend to participate in Dota 2, but you don't have the money or time to go to Seattle, look for a local pub stomp. That is, of course, dota2.com/pubstomps/listings. I will throw you guys the link just so you can check it out if you haven't already. And there might be one near you. There's one in most countries, I think, that are interested in Dota. Well, at least we've got Argentina, Australia, several in Australia. We've got some in Austria, Belarus, Belgium, Brazil. So, I mean, look on there, check your country. You might have one. What if there's one happening in your city? And you can go stop by, figure out how to get in contact. They've got the contact information. For example, the one in Brazil is in Brasilia, which is, of course, the capital of Brazil. International 4 Grand Finals. It's all in. I was actually going to read it to you guys, kind of talk about the contact information, but it's all in Portuguese. So it's like Feramos, Também, uma campana solidária. And yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. But down here at the bottom, information, and it gives a phone number and an email to contact Fabio, or you can contact Bruno, or you can go to their website, thetarget.com.br. So there you go. It's going to be like that for every single country and city. They've got all the contact information there. As if there's a sign up amount or like some money that you need to do to buy a ticket. Some of these are ticketed. A lot of them have secret shops, or at least some items from Valve from the secret shop that they got shipped out. Valve sent out Pub Stomp packages. I think the Pub Stomps had to pay for them, but then they got a package full of secret shop items and things for them to give away or sell at their event. So be sure to check your local listings, and maybe there's one near you. I actually haven't checked to see if there's one in Houston. I should probably do that because that'd be pretty cool, I think. Let's see. United States. We'll scroll down to Houston, Texas. Hey, there actually is one. Houston, Texas, TI4 Pub Stomp. Where's it at? The International 4 Houston Viewing Party, the most prestigious Dota 2 event of the year. Come meet local Houston gamers, feast on great food and drinks, and watch your favorite pro teams battle for the ages. All ages welcome, 21 plus to drink, $2 mimosas, $4 Bloody Marys. Contacts, Tehus Patel or Trung Nguyen. The Phoenix Westheimer. So that's actually down in the middle of Houston. I don't know what the Phoenix is, but it sounds like a nice restaurant or something. So maybe they have a nice little convention room in the back or something. A lot of the restaurants in Houston have those little convention rooms that are just big empty halls that you can fill with banquet tables and stuff if you want to hold an event at one of the fancier restaurants. So it looks like they've got one. There's no entry fee actually. This is a free to attend event. I guess you just have to buy your own food and stuff. I'm not entirely sure. There's even a drinking game at the one in Houston. So a lot of exciting stuff going on this next weekend. I might have to find time to stop by this. That's actually sounds pretty cool. So here I go about to bring you guys the Pub Stomps, and I find one of my own. So you should all check out the website as well. You might find one for yourself. Now, on with that, the official brackets for the main event on Friday the 18th have come out. Of course, Vici Gaming coming out in the first place, from what I understand, got to choose their opponent. Now, coming out of the bubble brackets, we had Newbie and DK advancing on to the winners group. Vici Gaming, in a drop between Newbie and DK, deciding who they want to play against, picked Newbie to match up in round 1, match A. So Vici will be taking on Newbie. Evil Geniuses will be taking on DK. At this point, you have to ask yourself, does Vici choose Newbie based on their own preferences, or who they want EG to have to match up against? Maybe they think EG handles Newbie better than they handle DK, which I think might be the case. I feel like EG struggles against Burning a little bit because he's very skilled at going into late game. He's often recognized as one of the best farmers of all time in Dota 2. EG loves that late game matchup, and DK is not afraid of late game. I mean, this is Chinese Dota you're talking about. Newbie, a little more aggressive, closer, I think, to the IG level of aggression than DK's late game, but of course they do go to a comfortable, I call it a medium late game. They don't quite go as late, I think, as DK enjoys doing. But Vici taking on Newbie. So that will start out Friday's matches. Vici and Newbie will play their best of 3 to start things off. That's upper bracket round 1A, and I believe that will be at 9 a.m. again. So 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is of course 11 a.m. my time, which is Central Standard Time, or Texas time, as I like to refer to it as. And that should be about 1800 Central European time. So about the evening for you guys, the games will start up. You only have 6 games maximum. It will be the winner upper bracket round 1. No, actually we got 9 games possibly. We've got Vici and Newbie will be playing all 3 of their series. Evil Geniuses and DK will be playing their best of 3 to follow. And then we'll have the winner of both of those games playing it off. So we will have the entire winners bracket completely done on Friday, it looks like. So we will know who's in the grand finals come Friday the 18th. Now, of course, following that up on Saturday, we will start seeing the losers bracket where Cloud9 and Na'Vi will be playing against each other, and IG will be taking on LGD. This is a very tough match for LGD, a very tough match for Cloud9 too, I think. I mean, Na'Vi is very familiar with Cloud9, and I think they traditionally come out on top of that matchup. So Cloud9 in for a rough start, as well as LGD. Both of these teams are very familiar with each other. I think the best thing that could have happened for Cloud9 and LGD was LGD versus Na'Vi and Cloud9 versus IG. Because then you're at least getting teams that aren't as familiar with you as the other team. But that's how it is right now. We will be seeing the Na'Vi versus Cloud9 matchup to start things off. And then the IGLGD. So that will be Saturday. Then we'll go on through Sunday, and then the event will conclude with the main event grand finals, which is a best of 5 that Monday, the 21st. On with that, let's see, what else do I have? I've got the brackets. We have more news coming out of TI4. Main event predictions, guys. We've been seeing pictures come out. When are we allowed to pick our predictions for the International Compendium? You've got that little drop down that says, wait on the playoffs to finish. Well, the playoffs are done. Why don't we have a drop down list? Valve has released the main event predictions. Wikram Reddy, who I've found out is actually a beta tester for all the new stuff coming to Dota. That's how he has all this inside information. So he works very closely with IceFrog and the development team of Dota 2. He gets this behind the scenes information because he's helping them test it all out before it gets released to us, the public. But he says the main event predictions are now available. Set them up. Playoff results are up too. Hashtag Compendium, hashtag TI4. So there you go. Follow him for your latest Dota news, I think, about client updates, or he also releases a lot of really good guides on things you might not know about. For example, there's a model viewer inside of the Dota 2 files that isn't an official model viewer, but it's the most up-to-date model viewer. If you really want all the latest features in the source engine, you want to use that one. And he actually helped me out specifically. I talked to him and he responded really fast and efficiently to help me set it up and get it running on my computer, because I had to do a few extra things that weren't actually in the guide, but he helped me get it fixed out, and he did it really well. The news tab, though, for the TI4, we got quite a few more interviews coming out, and a few of those I want to highlight, but I'll just quickly do the rundown of the entire group. We've got Ohio and Hotbid. We've got a Chuan and Hotbid interview, for those of you who are Chuan fans. Who isn't a Chuan fan? That guy is charismatic. He is like the definition of charismatic. And it's like he doesn't even have to be speaking English. You just get excited when he's up on stage doing his thing. Xiao 8 and a Hotbid. Puppy interview after the group stages. So there's you. I think the most important thing you can take away from this Puppy interview, first of all, if you're going to go watch the Puppy interview, you got to be prepared. You need to sit down with a soda or something. This is a 30-minute interview. But the most important thing about an interview with somebody like Puppy is you're talking to the drafting and strategic mind behind a long-standing, top-performing team like Na'Vi. And that's not something you get access to all the time. Now, so definitely take advantage of that interview. We've got some matchmaking episode that's come out that I'll get to here shortly. We actually have an interesting interview that Join Dota did that I really kind of liked. They called it Chain and Lightning and International 2014. The Chain Lightning interview, the way they did it is they asked one professional player a question. And I think I actually have the link right over here. Let me see if I can find the right one. Otherwise, I have to click this little tab and it'll pop up a new video. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. Chain and Lightning. Oh, come on. I know I've got a separate. Maybe I can just right click on this video and say copy link address. Is this right? Nope, that's not going to do it. I'm going to have to click it, guys. We're going to. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, watch on YouTube. I'm going to click files fast. Oh. Okay. I got it. But Chain Lightning, I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys the link because I think this was pretty cool. They asked one pro player a question, and then he got to ask somebody else another question. And so the interview was just like a, what do you call it? It's like a hot potato where you just throw around the questions against each other. And we started to get some really pointed questions. People were asking specific teams, specific things, and you could tell they were jibes. So a very friendly interview, though. It wasn't the most informative thing, but it's only like 3 minutes long. It's just a quick bit of entertainment where you get to have some fun with the players. So definitely suggest checking that one out, at least if you just want a little bit of laid back fun for a couple of minutes. We also had a Hotbit interview with Suns fan, Purge, and I think that's the latest ones. I've already done the EGM and Blitz one as of yesterday. I don't know if I hit Suns fan and Purge. I may have gone too far back. But yeah, that's the latest on Dota news. They also released an article today, an official Dota2.com article. The playoffs are over, and they talk about how Monday and the weekend ended things for certain teams, how other teams moved down, and just kind of give you a quick overview, as well as the latest Dota 2 tweets over there on the side, but that's really hit or miss. But they do a nice little article overview if you didn't have a chance to catch all the happenings over the weekend and you weren't able to watch my Monday episode, then just go check out the nice little Dota 2 article that they wrote under the news tab of Dota2.com. Along with that, I think I was looking for the... somebody said there was a Slark Arcana set that was released, but I'm not sure that that was exactly what it was. I think that was the Na'Vi Slark set is what they were linking me to. Because I was looking and I didn't see it in the patch notes, but it might be out there. Along with that, though, there are some interviews that I want to bring to you guys that are actually pretty good interviews, and they were both done by Na'Vi. One of them is an interview with Eric Johnson, which all but confirms Techies is pretty much about to jump into the client. I'm sure they're waiting for TI4 to finish before they do such a big update like adding a whole new character into the client. But there's an interview with Eric Johnson where he talks about Techies, and he says it's not whether Techies needs to get what they do to get Techies ready. It's what the world needs to do to get ready for Techies. So it's basically like, look, Techies is ready to go. You guys want Techies? You're about to get Techies. Well, Techies is right there on the edge. So watch the Eric Johnson interview. It's only a minute long, so not the hardest thing to watch. Just a fun little interview with Eric Johnson, who I think many consider to be Valve's lead on Dota 2. I think that's the best way to consider him. He really takes charge on things of this nature. And so there's an interview directly with him. As well as that, we had another Gabe Newell interview, and this one is substantially better than the Starletter TV disappointment that we saw yesterday. This Gabe Newell interview is done by Na'Vi, and I really liked it, mainly because he talked specifically about Dota 2. The other one was more just like general questions about Valve, and he just said the same general things that he often says. But this one was very pointed, and Gabe had some great answers and great responses for Na'Vi. So definitely check that one out. We'll throw that over there in the chat. Gabe Newell interview. Russian community is extraordinary. Of course, that's the quote they want to put in the title. For all their Russian fans, Na'Vi, of course, really big in Eastern European Dota. Not Eastern Dota scene. That's, of course, the Asias. But Eastern European Dota, which includes Russia and all the... what do you call the countries that basically splintered off of Russia other than Eastern Europe? I mean, they're very closely tied to Russia still to this day. And a lot of them, a lot of the languages over there are still Russian. Like in Ukraine, a lot of the Ukrainians, you might mistake them for Russians because they're all speaking Russian to each other. But of course, many of these teams are actually from Ukraine. They're not Russian teams. Along with that, probably the highlight interview of the day, at least the most informative interview I have seen today, looking through all these interviews. Cyborg Matt busted out a huge interview with Bruno to wrap up the playoffs. It is 14 minutes long, so a little bit longer of a watch. Not quite the 30-minute interview with Puppy, but 14 minutes long, and it's with Bruno. And Bruno, with his stats-oriented mind, has some great insight on how he thinks Dota 2 is going to progress and what he thinks caused the last week of happenings. So really insightful interview from Bruno. If you like hearing about the statistics behind Dota and you want to hear some opinions, Bruno has an educated opinion. As goofy as he acts up on stage, this is an educated man and he has some solid opinions, and it's definitely worth a listen to. At least whether or not you agree to him, at least to hear a different perspective than you're normally hearing, because Bruno does bring a new perspective than, say, your traditional caster or player might bring to it, because he's looking at the stat sheets. That's why I like to bring up the K-pop Tosis stuff when I get the chance to. Now, along with the TI4 stuff that's been going on, we got a little bit of TI4 drama that I tried to avoid, but it looks like things are still going to be dragging on, so I guess at this point we've got to report them. So over the last week, there were some Chinese commentators. Let me get their exact names for you. Mick and... it's Mick and her boyfriend. What's her boyfriend's name? That's what I'm looking for. And I actually didn't know anything about these guys before this stuff started popping up last week, and I tried to just ignore it because it seemed like just your standard run-of-the-mill rumors popping around in Dota. But it's blown out now. Where Mick and Xiao Tan, boyfriend-girlfriend caster duo for Chinese commentation. One of the Chinese channels. It was actually them casting TI4. I don't know which channel they were, but they were one of the dedicated Chinese channels invited to the international. And I saw an open letter, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the news or not, there's an open letter that was actually written by the Chinese community, and it was headed by the guy that basically founded IG. It's Sikong Wang, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's basically the guy that put down all the money for IG. His dad is, I believe, the richest guy in China, so he's got quite the money behind him. And he's the whole IG organization, and basically Dota 2 in China was founded by this guy. He put a lot of investment in, and he really works hard to make sure the Dota 2 scene is top notch. But he basically put out a open letter to Valve that said, hey, look, we came to watch Dota, and all we're getting is this boyfriend-girlfriend flirting over their microphones. Of course, I can't listen to Chinese casters and tell you what they're saying, so I couldn't confirm or deny it. So at this point, I was like, it's hearsay for me, because I have no way to say, is this really what's going on? But at this point, there's actually a little Twitter war going on between the two. And so you have to assume there's at least something going on here. We actually have a tweet coming out directly from Sikong Wang. The commentary from these two is the worst in history. There's a complete lack of any game analysis or match information. It's just Mick flirting and rattling on about foolish nonsense. Do you think we stay up late at night to listen to you and your boyfriend chat? Please have some respect for esports, for the players, as well as those who stay up late at night to watch the matches. I have no idea how people like this were even invited to Seattle. Now, along with that, Mick actually replied, our commentary style is how it is. We're not going to change because of some spoiled rich kid. If you don't like it, just mute us or switch commentary. I will give myself some self-criticism and provide even better commentary to everyone. Now, at this point, you might think it's over. And, I thought it was. This is where it was last week. But things have popped back up where, Mick actually on one of her live broadcasts set down her headphones after the broadcast and said, is that Wang Sikong guy retarded or what? She had not muted her microphone. So she said it on a live broadcast for every single Chinese spectator to hear. And the thing is, she might say, I'm not going to change my ways to some spoiled rich kid. Yes, he is a rich kid, but this isn't just some spoiled rich kid that you're looking at. You're looking at the guy behind IG. One of the contenders for the #1 spot. This guy has a lot of pull in esports, most specifically esports in China. So you kind of have to respect his opinion a little bit. This isn't somebody that you want to sit there and get in a playground argument with. But, and that's not the kind of thing you want to get caught saying about anybody when you're doing a cast. I mean, let's be honest, you're trying to be professional, especially at the biggest esports event in all history. That's what TI4 is, and you're caught saying that on microphone? But, he actually responded on a tweet. We actually have a tweet coming out. And you're going to badmouth me on a live broadcast? Okay, we can't say that part. Who the F are you trying to impress? I won't say any more about the fact that you don't understand Dota 2. But to display your lack of intelligence and manners on a live stream, stop losing face for China. So these guys are quite angry at each other. We've actually got a picture of, I think they actually put out an apology video where where Mick, who's actually the female of the caster boyfriend-girlfriend duo, crying during the apology and everything. But a little bit of a Twitter war in Chinese Dota coming out. And that's, of course, reported by GamesInAsia.com, my go-to source for a lot of the Chinese tweets. I call them tweets just because Twitter's the most relevant thing we have, but it's actually done through Tencent, Weibo, Weibo.com. They tweet out in Chinese, but Games in Asia always translates them to English for me, so they're really convenient. Now, along with the drama, we actually have a little bit of good publicity that's going on. We've actually got SteelSeries launching a Dota 2 gaming mouse. Now, the important thing about this, you might say, oh, it's just another Dota 2 item for us to buy from SteelSeries. And I might say, yeah, you're right. I want to go ahead and swap over so you guys can see the mouse. There's, of course, the SteelSeries gaming mouse. It's the Dota 2, I believe it's called the Rival Dota 2 series. I think the Rival is the kind of mouse that it actually is, and it's a Dota 2 series. It actually looks really cool. It's thematic and everything, and it's even got the little Dota 2 logo on the back. But the big thing about this, what brought this to my attention, because normally I won't report on just a Dota 2 item, because that's just putting a Dota 2 stamp on an item. That's no big deal. Let's be honest. Everybody's got Dota 2 edition stuff. Nobody cares. But the big thing about this is it comes with an exclusive in-game item. The shop in Dota 2, your in-game items are now going to be an open door for sponsors that traditionally would just put that Dota 2 stamp to now include an in-game item. So that Dota 2 mouse is now becoming an intricate part of the commodities market of Dota 2. You've got these items in Dota 2 that as a artist, you're putting out these items. You can now reach out to somebody who traditionally puts out computer equipment and say, hey, can I tie this item onto your item to bring you in more Dota 2 personnel as you put out a Dota 2 specific item, and then maybe I get part of the cut or something along those lines. So really cool way for the market, the Dota 2 workshop, to actually branch out. We are branching out into real items being linked specifically to Dota 2 items. Now, I think, of course, the pioneer in this market, and I could be wrong, but the one I consider the pioneer, of course, is the Weeknights workshop, who do some great Dota 2, what do you call them, props? They make some props, some actual 3D props that they do 3D printing and then paint them up and everything. So if you want a Doombringer or anything along those lines, check out the Weeknights workshop. But a lot of those come with Dota 2 items as well. But now we've got SteelSeries launching their gaming mouse, and you actually get a really cool Doombringer sword. It's called the Hell's Glare. Specifically with this mouse. So I thought that was just really cool to see in Dota 2. It's not something we've seen before. And props to SteelSeries for reaching out and starting this up for us. So there's not a nice little segue from your traditional way of getting workshop items, which is normally through just the Steam store. And of course, we had the tournament tickets start having items on them, but now even your Dota 2 themed gear. Maybe you buy a T-shirt and you get a T-shirt for Crystal Maiden. I don't know. Speaking of T-shirts, though, we actually have the T-shirts. You've probably seen them for Team ROTK and Team Havost. Well, it's come out that they're actually giving these shirts out to the staff and personnel there on site at the hotel and letting them choose teams. And actually, Vici Gaming's Facebook has actually put out all the different personalities who've chosen to be on Team ROTK and are wearing the ROTK shirts. And right here, so of course you see several of the people like Toby1 right here and Lysander on Team ROTK. I don't want to call. Here we go. Here's Ice 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 being on Team Havost. Look, Ice 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 Trader. He's the only one on Team Havost out of these groups. But we got a bunch of people on RTK. Eternal Envy's on Team Cloud9. He doesn't care about the teams, but he's playing foosball there with some other people on Cloud9 with his little Cloud9 shirt on. But they have started choosing teams, so look for these people to be going around in their shirts. I think Bruno, in the Bruno interview, had an RTK shirt, and he talked about it. He's really good friends with Havas, so he had to choose RTK shirt. But I think he said he was going to get a Havas shirt and like try and sew them together or something and have one of each because he likes multicolored shirts, I believe were his words. So look out for the people in the crowds now. They're going to be wearing the shirts, showing their pride as we get into the All-Star game. For those of you who are wondering, there's actually the All-Star game, I think, is on the 19th, the second day of the main event. Oh, so actually, SteelSeries has been doing this, Sight Device with the SteelSeries headset. So SteelSeries has been doing this for quite a bit, it looks like. So great job to SteelSeries. This was actually the first I had seen of it. I hadn't actually seen the other stuff. So really cool to see that coming out from them. Awesome video, guys. Awesome video for Dota 2. Very thematic music and great animations and really an awesome movie idea in general put out by Dota Cinema today. It was called Dota 2, It's Like a Game of Chess. Definitely recommend you all watching. It's about 3 minutes long, 2 minutes 55 seconds. And it's just a hype video. It's a straight up hype video for Dota 2. It's like, hey, we want you to get excited for the main event. Here's you a main event video. This has been needing to be made. I don't think people have made enough main event videos. There's been lots of, highlight videos of big plays and fail plays. But we needed something that said, hey, this is the international and be like a commercial. Everybody else has commercials for their big events. There wasn't really one for Dota 2 the international. But we finally got one for the main event. It was put out by Dota Cinema. Really awesome video by them. And it's kind of cool just watching the stuff come flying in and the different plays that they put out there. Now, at the same time, this hype video, you have to think that a lot of the stuff you see in there and you're like, oh man, that's awesome. You would only understand if you're a Dota 2 fan. So I think this is really targeted at Dota 2 fans. I don't think it's like a general audience commercial intended to bring people in. Like, say, the big Dota 2 promotional video was, the one with Axe, like, fighting people off, and the secret shop guy telling his tale. How many of y'all remember that video, the secret shop video? That video was awesome. That was done by Valve. I was expecting Valve to put out something for the international, but I don't believe I caught anything, so maybe I missed it. But along with that, Team Liquid, great website. Of course, the people behind Hotbid, who's been putting out some amazing interviews, possibly the #1 interviewer, I would say the top interviewer at TI4 right now. I love his interviews. He's a great, what do I even call him? Do I call him a reporter? But he's a great guy in the way he phrases his questions and the way he keeps an interview roaming and the way he phases in and out of serious and not so serious to keep things laid back and keep the people comfortable around him. A lot of people you see just ask the serious questions and you see the person like, you see them get all bunched up and uncomfortable, and then you stop getting insight from them if someone's uncomfortable in front of the camera. Hotbit does a good job of making people not realize they're in front of the camera. They're just there talking to Hotbit. He does a really good job of that. But Team Liquid, the guys behind Hotbid, actually put an International 4, a TI4 bracket contest. This will be the second of their bracket contests in Dota 2, where they invite you to predict how the tournament will play out for some glory and some prizes. Very short contest due to the short amount of time before TI4. The deadline is, of course, Friday, July 18th, 12 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is, Central Time, US, so my time. So if you just convert what my time is right now for you, it is 7:30 p.m. or 19:30 Central Standard Time. Convert that to whatever your current time is. 12 p.m. on my time is what you're looking for, is the deadline on Friday, July 18th. To make your predictions, follow their guide and correct any mistakes you've made up until the deadline. The winner will be the person who's gotten the most amount of points. You get points by predicting the correct winners, and then there are bonus points if you also get the correct scores. So first place prize will, of course, be internet fame. Everybody wants to win those internets. Team Liquid is looking to throw some at you. A Team Liquid store voucher worth $50. Exclusive Liquid Dota Gold Store item. Runner-up prizes. Second place will get 500 Liquid Dota Gold. Third to 10th will each get 100 Liquid Dota Gold. And then, of course, the point structure, upper bracket 1 and lower bracket round 1 will get 2 points, 4 points for the next rounds, 6 points, 8 points, 16 points for the grand finals. And predicting the correct score of a best of 3 will give you 1 extra point, and a best of 5 will give you 2 extra points. So you can make your predictions there on the Team Liquid website. Be sure to click that and try it out if you like doing those little contests. There's one on Liquid Dota right now. Along with the break, though, we've got a short little break for the next few days before TI4. But fear not, we are not without Dota. Hitbox is releasing a Bounty Hunter Asia Showdown. For those of you who aren't familiar with Bounty Hunter, that is, of course, a King of the Hill style tournament that Hitbox has been doing for quite some time, trying to bring people into their new website. Hitbox, if you're not familiar with Hitbox, is actually the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of the old Own3D or Owned.tv website. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, whether it's Owned or Own3D.tv. But either way, if you're familiar with that old website that many people actually used over Twitch, it went under due to some poor financial contracts they were locked into, where they were literally losing money, but they couldn't get out of the contracts without going bankrupt, and they ended up going bankrupt. So, of course, the website had to sell everything just to be able to pay everybody off, including their streamers. I think they got most of that sorted out through their bankruptcy. Well, the CFO said, I've learned from Own3D, and I'm going to start up Hitbox. So he's starting up Hitbox to be Own3D done correctly without tying himself into these poor contracts that really bogged down Own3D and ran the website into the ground. And they've tried to bring people over as viewers into the, I think it's still in beta. I think Own3D, let me check Hitbox actually right now. I'm going to go to hitbox.tv. I think it was in beta the last time I looked at it. And yep, it's still in beta. So they're not fully released yet, but they're certainly on the right track. They've got a chat, they've got their video quality options, and they're working in partnerships. But they are running the Bounty Hunter Showdown, which is a King of the Hill style tournament. It is, of course, the Asia Showdown. And so on the 16th of July, which is tomorrow, we will have Mineski versus Myth Trust and Orange versus Arcanus. Then we will have the finals on the 17th of July. Then, of course, the 18th, you can go back to watching TI4. So just a quick little segue. It will be cast by Pimp Muckle on the English mainstream. For those of you who are sad that you don't see Pimp Muckle, if you're a Pimp Muckle fan and he's not at TI4, so you're like, man, I wish he was at TI4. Well, he's going to be casting the Bounty Hunter Asia Showdown, so you can get your fill from him. If you're a Russian viewer and you want to watch Mobster cast, he will be running the Russian stream. There will be a Vietnamese stream done by ESV Studio and a Thai stream by Airy Fiends. So we got many languages covered. Of course, there will be no Brazilian stream for all of you Brazilian viewers out there. I'm sorry. There will be no Portuguese. You will have to watch in English. But that will be the Bounty Hunter Asian Showdown on Hitbox.tv, and that starts tomorrow. And the times there listed are on Central European time, so be sure to check that out tomorrow for you Europeans out there. Along with that, we actually had a cool little Game FY. So whether or not Game FY was behind the spying on DK, they have secured a newbie interview with Hao. And it's about 5 minutes long. They kind of start out with just your traditional intro into what Dota is and Chinese Dota. But if you skip past that about a minute, around the minute and a half mark, you start to get into the Hao interview. It is, of course, subtitled, so you are going to have to know how to read. For those of you who do not know how to read, I'm afraid this is in Chinese, so you will have to understand Chinese if you cannot read English. But if you can read English, there are subtitles where you can see. For example, here's just a little sample line where they ask him about Tinker pickers. And he goes, we talked about it before, but never used it. If Tinker was picked against us, we would choose Spectre as a counter. So just a little bit of insight into Newbie's playstyle from Hao. Really insightful video into the Chinese Dota scene. Of course, Newbie working their way through a great day. I believe it was yesterday. I've got all my days mixed up. But a great showing from Newbie in this tournament. So if you want to see Hao having an interview in Chinese, there it is with all of the English subtitle glory. Another cool little thing coming out from Join Dota today, though, they have released Matchmaking Episode 7, and this one is a love triangle. This is not just a duo anymore. We could not have enough with just two players. Milk could not choose. They said, Milk, who do you want to be paired up with? He says, but I like Hanny and I like Merlini. And so they said, okay, we'll have a love triangle in Matchmaking Episode 7. And they're all working out in the gym while they talk. I think actually if you look, let me see if I can find it real quick. Merlini workout GIF. Oh, I don't know if you can Google it right away or not. But there's actually a funny little GIF made from the video. And if you watch closely in the background of the video, it shows all the people working out. Watch for Merlini. There's a machine where it's an arm machine that you basically just push it out like this and you're sitting up in a chair. Watch Merlini's weight while they're doing that. It's about 2/3 of the way through the video, I think. He's in the background while they're talking to... Are they talking to Hani or are they talking to Milk? They're talking to one of them. Merlini's in the background. Watch him lifting weights in the background and ask yourself, Merlini, do you even lift? But definitely watch Matchmaking Episode 7. That is, of course, put out by Join Dota. It's on their Join Dota Plus YouTube channel where they put all of their extra content. Join Dota, their main channel is, of course, where they put all of their VOD content. So if you want to see their tournament VODs, check out Join Dota. If you want to see the fun videos and interviews that they put out, check out Join Dota Plus. Of course, Matchmaking run by Zoe, who does a great job doing interviews as well. She's put out almost as many great interviews as Hotbid and Cyborg Matt have been doing. I think Zoe and Cyborg Matt I consider tied, and then Hotbid's like right here, just a little bit above them. But great job by all of them putting out this content now that you have a chance to catch all these players. I think that's what's important. I mean, you've got all these players from all the top teams around the world in one location. If we didn't have awesome interviews with every single one of them by the time this event is over, I think it would be a missed opportunity. But all the organizations, we've got Own Gamers, we've got Join Dota, and we've got Team Liquid, all working hard to make sure they get lined up with every single one of these players from all the different teams to try and give us as much quality content as they can while they have these players on hand. Because a lot of the times you don't have access to these players, especially at the shorter events, like let's say a DreamHack, Dream League. You know, it happens over a weekend. The players are rushed in, they've got to play all their games, and then they're going home. They don't really have time to do full interviews. You might catch a minute here, a minute there. We're getting 15-minute interviews with these players. You're really getting to learn a lot, especially the ones that have been knocked out already. They've got nothing better to do than spectate at this point. I mean, Valve's paying for them to be there. They might as well enjoy their time, you know, sit back, relax, and do some interviews, talk with some fans, sign some signatures, and have lots of fun. Of course, many of those people, even though they've already lost, they've won $50,000 at the same time. So they're like, you know, still pretty happy with myself. You can't exactly be in down spirits watching a $10 million tournament when you've already got some prize money in your pocket. But lots of great interviews coming out, and I'm really excited about that. I was wondering if we would get, you know, wasted time. And I mentioned this, you know, I don't know if I should call people out, but Starladder, you need to step up your game. Y'all aren't putting out the greatest interviews. I was really disappointed by the Starladder interview with Gabe Newell. That was like the saddest. Like, I saw Gabe Newell and I got so excited because I wanted to hear from him, and I haven't heard from him yet for TI4. And now we have. Now we've got, who did I say it was? I don't remember who I linked with the Gabe Newell interview. Oh, there's the Merlini gifts. I can go ahead and throw that up on stream for you guys. Yeah, here we go. I'll go ahead and swap over to that for you guys. There's his little weight. Lift your weight. He's really pumping hard. And, you know, I don't want to say that he's actually doing it. I think he was just trying to look active for the video because it's probably sort of staged. But come on, Merlini. Those blocks are like 2.5 pounds a piece on those weight machines. The mechanical weight machines where they've got the pulleys and everything. Come on. You gotta at least put like a stack of 10 of them or something and acted like you were doing something. You don't have to just do one block. But that's going to be Merlini's little gift that's probably going to be spammed in his chat every time he casts from here till, I don't know, whenever people get tired of it. But those things don't tend to die down, and I expect that's going to follow Merlini for quite some bit. Now, on the subject of casting, I've actually got a little bit of personal news for you guys, as well as an idea I want to run by you and get some feedback on. First of all, I've been talking to you guys about working on a studio that I'm building here. This is my studio environment, and many of y'all might be wondering, well, what's it look like? I've actually updated with some pictures on my Instagram account, which is, of course, FletchDota. I don't update it all that frequently, but I have managed to update it here today for you guys. With some photos of the different things I'm working on right now. And I'll go through those real quick with you guys. Of course, here's my main Instagram account. It's got pictures going all the way back to when I was diving. I've got a few pictures offshore. Not that many offshore because you don't want to, of course, have your phone out in open water on a boat. It's not exactly the best thing to do. But of course, here's all of my stack of books. A lot of these are art books and things. These will be going on shelves. Here's my diver manual that has like every single rule and regulation of commercial diving in it. I've got, of course, some game design books and some other things. Old computer case. This right here, I'm actually working on setting up an external hard drive location that I'm going to have on my network. So I've got that in the works, and then maybe I'll have like an external storage unit for all my backup that I'll install on this shelf, and maybe some books. But this is what's left over of the extra stuff in my room is basically what all this is. This is all that's left in this room in here that's not related to casting. Here's what the actual desk looks like. Of course, here's my little snack bag and my Coke can that you always see me drinking from. My 3-monitor setup. Here's my webcam on top, my microphone in front, audio equipment all around the back, and Dremel tool here at my side because I have been building stuff in my room. Dremel tool, screwdrivers, toolbox, all of that. Whiteboard in the back that I do a lot of my planning on when I'm doing that. What else do we have? This is my main studio light that I turn on. It's a really big fluorescent light because I don't have the LEDs running yet. When I get the LEDs running, this will convert over to my fill light, which is actually what it's intended for because of the color of it. It's actually a warmer color than I intend for my key light. And what's my final picture? Of course, here's my audio equipment. There's my mix board. This is just a little hard drive I got plugged in right now. I have a little USB hard drive plug that I can check out some of my laptop hard drives, make sure I don't have important information on. And I was checking this from an old laptop before I clear it out and throw it in my stack of hard drives. My compressor, I've got a big mix board that I'm actually not using right now. And then, of course, my little mix board that's running straight into my computer right now, as well as all the plugs running up into my microphone. There's you a quick little overview of what it looks like in the studio right now. Of course, I hope to install full permanent lighting fixtures. I don't have those up right now, but that's going to come after the LED lighting is finished. Right now, my LED lighting overheats. I haven't managed to sort out the heating yet on it, and the light starts flickering as it slowly burns itself out. So not exactly the best situation for my LED lighting yet, but we're working on it. We're working on it, guys. I do have almost all this stuff segregated and removed from my room. I'm going to put a lot of my art books on a shelf that I actually have over here behind me. I've got 2 duplicate shelves I'm going to put on the wall behind me so you guys have something behind me to look at. It's not just going to be a blank wall. And those will have art books, maybe some Dota 2 books on it or something. I don't know. It'll probably just be a bunch of art books. That's probably all I'm going to keep in my room. I've got sketchbooks, art books. I have a bunch of old computer books and college textbooks and stuff that's probably just going to get removed, maybe sold to the used bookstore, traded in for some more art books. We'll have to see. But that is, of course, a current update on how I'm going. And I mentioned I wanted to run something by you. I actually have a really good idea that I had the other day. I was talking to some casters, and I think I mentioned it last night on stream, but I forgot to run the idea by you. There's a new, there's some new console commands for how you handle camera movement in Dota 2 as a caster. And it made me think about my camera movement. I use my mouse right now and my keyboard, but you know, with WASD or even with arrow keys, you're talking about full press on off. It's not a modulated control of your camera movement. And I've got a really nice joystick, and I might even want to consider buying one of those little camera boards with like the 9-button pad on it and then the little joystick on it that's a little bit easier to use with just your thumb. But I'm thinking about using a joystick for Dota 2 camera controls while I cast. Of course, my joystick, I can actually pull it out here for you guys real quick. I'm going to do that. Look at my joystick. I've actually got a pretty nice joystick because I used to have a lot of fun in flight simulators. It's an old Cytec X52 joystick, which of course has the big thing with it. Problem with a lot of joysticks is you get where they eventually lean down like this and they get broken, like they just part of the plastic inside breaks. This actually has electromagnets inside of it where it should always come back to the center indefinitely, or supposedly. At least as of right now, it's still pretty solid. And it's got lots of buttons and hotkeys on it. It's even got, oh, I gotta put this in the camera. It's even got my little fire button you can flip up, fire a missile. But yeah, I've got all these little buttons and knobs on it that I could use for casting and hotkeys and everything. And I think it'd be pretty cool to try and cast a Dota 2 game with a joystick. I want to know what you guys think about that. I think it might work out pretty good. I don't know if I can use a joystick for camera movement or not. That's one thing. If I can't figure out how to do it, I might talk to Valve and maybe they can help me figure out how to do it with console commands, or maybe modding the INI file with the actual, what the source names are for the joystick buttons. Because there's going to be specific names. I don't remember the right term for it, but it's like for F1 keys, it looks like VK_F1. Those sort of key commands. I think if I can get the exact ones for that, and I can't put my joystick as the main controlling unit in Dota 2, perhaps I can do it through their INI file, set a secondary control as the joystick, so I don't have to keep changing back and forth when I go to play a game and when I'm casting. But if I can use a joystick for camera control, I think that might work out pretty good. So, yeah, look at my joystick, guys. I'm glad you all enjoyed looking at my joystick. Oh no, I'm going to get banned from Twitch. But as for that, guys, that will conclude tonight's episode of FletchDota, at least the news segment of the show. We will, of course, move into the viewer interaction segment where I get to get feedback directly from you guys and interact. I don't get to interact with the chat all that much while I'm casting the news because I got to look at the camera and I got to read lots of articles for you guys. I have hundreds of windows open that I got to browse through. But after the show, I like to spend a specific set amount of time to include one Dota game where I just sit there and talk to you guys the entire time. I really focus on responding to questions or just talking to you guys if you just feel like chatting some. Or if you just want to flame me, do whatever you want. That's what the chat's for. But I try and set aside some time after every show to interact with you guys because I think it's important. I think you, the viewer, are what makes this show possible. When you guys return and watch again, that's a viewer base that's a recurring viewer base that slowly builds as we get maybe one more person every single day. And you know, after 300 days, maybe I've got 300 new viewers. You never know. So anyways, that will conclude the news segment of FletchDota episode 16. This is, of course, every single weeknight, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Weeknights are Monday through Friday for you non-native English speakers who aren't quite familiar with what a weeknight is. I do run the show Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I take off. I take a weekend for my show so I don't burn out. And I do start to feel burned out by Friday, so it's a good thing I take my weekends. But Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is about, what, 2 a.m.? I think that's right. That's 1900, no? 4 a.m. Okay, we're going to do some math here. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time is 1900, so that would make it 2600. That would be 2 a.m. Yeah, 2 a.m. is correct. 2 a.m. Central European Time or 7 p.m. Central U.S. Time. And that's, of course, for you European viewers out there who want to stay up really late to watch the news. Otherwise, the VODs do pop up. I've been kind of lazy with my last 3 VODs, but those will go up on YouTube tonight, most likely. I've just been really busy over the weekend because I had some things I've had to sort out, and hopefully we get that all knocked out because, I don't know, I don't have anybody putting the YouTube videos up for me, and I gotta manage all that so I can get it just how I like it. And so it takes a little bit of time, not the longest amount of time, but I do need to sit down for about an hour and sort all that out. So I'll get all that sorted for you guys, hopefully tonight, and we can move on. But as for that, guys, thanks for watching FletchDota episode 16, July 15th, 2014. And I hope to see you tomorrow for episode 17, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.